Good morning, everyone. This is the Magic Date. It's from Chapter 4 at the end of the chapter in the programming assignments. As you can see, it says the date June 10th, 1960, special because when we write it in the following format, the month times the day equals the year. So you can see that June is 6th month. So we have 6 times 10 equals 60. If we had 11, then 6 times 6 would be 66. So it's not a magic date. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be inputting the date of the year. We're going to be inputting the day itself and the month in here. So I recommend, because we're using the month, the day, and then the year, I would recommend doing it exactly in that order. That way it makes sense that when the user's putting it in, they don't mess up and put in the day for the month and the month for the day or whatever it is in here. So all you have to do is a simple if statement. It's going to either say it's a magic date or it's not a magic date. You can put in whatever message that you want that says so. You can add whatever kind of features that you want. So all we need at this point in time should be IOStream and using namespace. Now we are going to be weaning off of using namespace standard shortly, but for now, make your life easier and let's do it here. So we need our integer main. Now we're going to be doing functions, and so you'll understand that main is nothing more than a function that does a bunch of stuff. So here we go. So it tells us we need a day, a month, and a year. So these are all going to be integers. So the first thing you want to do is, what data type do I need? So you name your variables in there. Remember the IPO, input, processing, and output. Well, what is the user going to have to input? They're going to have to input a day, a month, and a year. So because we're doing the month first, we'll do it in that order. Now, it makes no difference how you do it as long as the user understands you put in a day, you put in a month, and you put in a year, and they know which is which. So let's start off right here, and we're going to do month first. Now notice I am declaring this on a separate line. Notice that I am initializing it. So now we have the month. Now we're going to do day, and it's just simple integers and then year. So in this one, we're not going to require that you validate make sure that it's a valid month, because obviously a month has to be between 1 and 12. Well, if the user types in 15, it's not going to work. And day needs to be it needs to be between 1 and either 28, 30, or 31, and possibly 29. So what I'm going to do is do this function, then I'm going to add on, not today, but I'm going to add on in after we finish this video. I'm going to add and take that video, and we're going to address how to do the error checking in there. We'll tie it in with functions so you can see how easy it is. So let's go and have a nice prompt. So we have cout, and you want to be very specific to the user. What is the month? And I'm putting a question mark, a space, and notice no end line. Repeat, no end line. Then we're going to do a cin month. Same thing in here, cout what is the day. And cin day. And lastly, always do this. And let's do see out. So where's the autocorrect that really nails me every time I send a text message out and send something totally different than what I wanted? I need to get Visual Studio to recognize as soon as I type in C in to do that. That would be nice. So I'm going to put that in as a suggestion. So we're going to do see out. What is the year? So all we need to do is determine if the month times the day is the year. So we're going to do it an acceptable way. Then we're going to do it a better way. So let's go and choose if. And I don't recommend doing it this way, but it is perfectly acceptable. So what we're doing here is if the day, we'll do the month first, month times the day equals the year. So that's our if condition. Now we're going to put in parentheses here. So remember, anytime there's calculations, you should put it in parentheses. So what we're doing here is we're calculating this, and then we're checking to see if it's year. Remember, one equal sign is going to sign. If I were to leave out this equal sign here, it would try to put year into a calculation, and it should give you an error message. So let's just test it and see what happens in here. So right now, notice the little red squiggly line, and it's saying here, expression must be modified. You can't modify the month times the year. So you're going to get that. So let's put an equal sign. Now, what we're doing is to check to see if these two here equals this. So let's go here and do, let's see. We want to do if it is, then we're going to do see out. And I'll do, let's do year first. Not required, but just add some stuff. Is a magic year. And we'll get rid of this. And this is the if. And if it's not a magic year, then it must be a not magic year. And here's our else. And I'm just going to copy and say it's not a magic year. So we'll just test it right now and see what happens. And all we're missing now is our return statement. So let's go and run it real quick, and we'll do the 6, 10, 60 and see how that works. So what is the month? And we're putting in 6. What is the day? We're putting in 10. And it says, what is the year? Not a magic year. So now we have a dilemma. So this is one of the reasons why I say do one thing and test. I left out the C in, and so we never get the year. So let's make sure that we put in the year. And then what we're going to do here is run it again. So see how easy it is to catch that if you just do one thing and then you run it. So we're going to do what is the month? Let's try 6. What is the day? 10. And it says what is the year? 60. And 60 is a magic year. So let's try it with something different and make sure that we're working. So we'll do the same thing. What is the month? Only this time we'll do 11. And then we'll do 60 again. And it's not a magic year. Well, let's just test it one more with something similar to what we just did. And we'll do 6, 11. This time we're going to do 66. So this time it should be a magic year. And it is. So that's everything for this one right here. So right now we have a program, it works, but in my opinion, it's just not as readable as I would like it to be. So we're going to introduce a Boolean. And a Boolean, as you remember, is something that's either true or false. And we'll just call it is magic date. And we'll be optimistic and call it true. Doesn't really matter whether it's true or false when you initialize it. So now we're going to calculate whether or not it's a magic date. So we're doing magic date is magic date. And what is the criteria for it to be a magic date? Well, the criteria is the month times the day must equal the year. So we can just copy this. And what I always recommend doing here is putting a little space here to make it readable. And then I recommend that, you know, if you get something and you don't understand why this is getting a red line over here, you're going to start counting the parentheses. So I have 1. Every time you get an open, you count 1. So it's 1, 2. And then every time you get a close, subtract 1. So that's, now we're back to 1 and back to 0. And we're getting a red squiggly line here because we did not put a semicolon after. So now all we need to do here is if magic date. So now we have a program that's readable. So basically what this line says, if month times day equals year, then magic date is true or equals true. Else, magic date is false. And this line here is a shortcut, and a better way of showing it is if magic date is true. So my opinion is this is a much more readable way of writing something. So let's try with the exact same things in here that we did before, the 60 and 6 and 10. So let's do 6, 10, and 60. And 60 is a magic year. Now let's go and do the same that we did before. And we're doing 6, 11, and 66. So that's not a magic year. And then let's do 6, 11, and 66. That should be a magic year. So that takes care of that. So we've done it. We've improved it in here, and we've used the Boolean. We've done everything that we've done. We've tested. We've initialized all the variables, and everything is working just fine. So that's all there is for that one right there. So hopefully this was helpful for you.